Hi Greedy 3D. As you may remember, in my last video I showed you how I repaired Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow here. Well, in this video I'm going to show you how I painted her up from start to finish. Well, not quite start to finish. I'm not going to show you the priming and the skin colours. It's the same with all my other videos. If you want to see how I do skin, then they will show you how I do them, and it's exactly the same with the Black Widow here. If you do like what you see and you like all things 3D print and paint, please don't forget to subscribe. And if you need any paints or any bits for your printer or any consumables, they are in the affiliate Amazon link, which you can find in the description, and that will help you to support the channel. But really the most important thing is, don't forget to subscribe. So the first thing I'm going to do today is just use a bit of pure red on a dry brush, and make sure you get most of that red off your dry brush. And I'm just going to put a little bit of blusher on each side of her cheeks, and I'm just going to touch the face across with a little bit of the red. I don't want to overdo this, but I just want to give her a little bit of a pinky tone. Now, this is how I always do eyes. You guys know how I do them. I've taken some matte black on a really fine brush, and I'm going to paint the inner part of the eyes that would normally be white, and I'm just going to go on the outside of it a little bit, above and below and on the edge. And as you guys know, this will give you an eyelinery kind of effect after when you paint the white in. Now, the amount of time I've done eyes and I've used this technique, I've always been pleased with how they come out. So whether you want to do it this way or not is up to you, but it's the way I do it because I find it really successful. Now, for the lips, if you remembered, I repaired the Black Widow model in my previous video, so I'm going to take a little bit of time here with this pure red again, just to outline the shape of her lip. It was right under the lip where the green stuff, which you can see here, actually repaired the chin. So I want to make sure I go over just the join or any gap that you see there, just to make sure you can see. Now, this is the final bit of the lip. I'm going to put some pink mixed with the red across the bottom of the lip just to highlight it. But overall, the lips are quite red on Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow. I'm also going to give them a little bit of varnish at the end just to shimmy them up a little bit. Now, once that black in the eyes had a chance to dry, just take some plain old white, mix it with a tiny hint of grey, and carefully, oh so carefully, just paint the whites of the eyes, leaving that black above and below. If you make a mistake, it's not the end of the world. You can always go back in with a very fine brush and some black on. But if you get it right, you'll see straight away that when you look at it, the eyes look brilliant, and that's how I want them to look. Fabulous. What I'm doing here is I'm just going over the top and the bottom of the eyes, just tidying them up a little bit, just using a little bit of wash that will highlight or low light some of the areas under the eyes and around her nasolabial folds and just above the eyes as well, just to give the face a little bit more shape. Don't overdo it with the wash. Don't put it on too thickly. Use a really fine brush and just gently place it into the gaps, and if you put it on too thickly, just rub it off with your finger. And once you're happy you've got it all on, once you're happy you don't need any more, and let's be honest, you can always add it on. Taking it off isn't probably as easy. Then move on to the pupils. Now, I'm just using that black for the pupils, and I'm going to carefully just place in where I want the pupils to be. Now, this will be down to your own indiscretion of where you put them. She can be looking to the left, to the right, straight ahead, but whichever position you put the eyes in, just make sure you take your time, do it slowly, build the blacker part of the irises so that she's looking in the same direction. That's really important and will be noticeable even at this scale. Now, once you've done that with the eyes, the next section with them, there's a few things that I did. Once the black was in, I used a green colour to just put an inner circle to the black. I then used a black dot to do the pupil, and I used a tiny hint of white just to put a shimmy shine into her eye. I then took a tiny bit of green and just did a bit of eyeshadow over the top, and that was the eyes done. And once I got the eyes done, I moved on to the eyebrows. Now, these would give me lost sleep doing eyebrows. On this model in particular, there's nothing to really follow, so I pulled up a reference picture of Scarlett Johansson and I carefully just put some little lines as in eyebrows in the shape that I wanted them, and I took my time and I did the opposite side exactly the same, and I didn't need to waste all that sleep. They came out really, really lovely. Now, eyebrows are a nightmare. Don't just paint them on in a line. Try to paint them on with a fine brush using little bristles, just like the eyebrows would be. It's only at the very end there you can probably pull a little line down when the angle comes down, but I'm really pleased how they've come out. If you're not sure how to do eyebrows, just practice it. Practice it on a model until you get used to them. They're not easy. And that's how they've come out, and I'm really pleased with how the face is looking so far, the eyes, the eyebrows and the lips. Here you can see me just dropping in 2 little dollops of white into the eyes. This was the latter stage that I was doing. I've also put a few eyelashes in there in the top right hand corners of the eyes with that fine brush that I used for the eyebrows. And there she is, and that's the final face all done. Moving on to the hair. Now for the hair, I've mixed some red and some lava orange, and I've mixed up that kind of gingery orange colour, and I'm going to use a really small brush to start with and get it as close to the face as I can. I don't want it to be a straight line. I don't want it to look like she's got a wig on, so I am going to just use a bit of rough edging on the join where the hair and the skin meet, and take your time again with this. You don't want to slip and splodge bright orange all over your hard worked on skin. Now when you're happy that you've got that colour on and you're happy that the narrow brush has done its job and you've done all the fine points, you can move on then to a bigger brush and just dollop it on there and get it right into all the gaps, give it a few layers and get it on there, and once the hair's on, the face itself will just come to life. Now I'm really pleased with the way this colour has come out. I wasn't sure how a lava orange and red would look, but I think it's kind of captured the Black Widow hair colour, so I'm really happy with it. Now you will notice that as I put it on to the centre of the hair there, some of the black will come through, and I did think I'm going to have to give this another layer, but when I looked at it when it was finished, the black coming through actually looked like low lighting, so I left it as it was, and as you can see there, I'm quite happy with how that colour has come out for a hair. Now obviously the Black Widow is on the whole black, so where I've gone over the skin onto the top, I've just used some matte black from Armypainter and a nice big flat brush, and I'm gonna just give her the once over with the black, taking my time here. What you didn't see is I did slip and put a little tiny dollop on her chin, and I had to get that off, but do you know what, accidents happen. The man that never made mistakes never did anything, they say. So take your time with this and just get any area that isn't black to make it black, and you'll see that once it dries, it looks a different colour now, but once it dries you won't see it. It will merge into the primer that I use, which is also an Armypainter black shade. Now this isn't going to be the last that I do with the uniform, but you do need that base layer to start with, and I will be adding a little bit of dry brush into the uniform later, just to give it a more realistic look. And there she is. There's, on the whole, she's virtually done really. Just a few of the tidying up points now. Now she is an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. and there is a S.H.I.E.L.D. emblem on the side of her arm. So I've just used some primer grey to colour that in. I've done the same on the other side once I finished this, and I gave them both another layer over just to give them some definition. Now it's actually this grey primer that I've used to dry brush her uniform, and I'm using a nice big brush. I'm getting the majority of that grey off, and I will not load this brush again. You'll see everything I do here is with one brush full of paint, which isn't quite full, it's virtually empty, and all I'm doing is I'm painting over Scarlett Johansson there in all the nooks and crannies, especially where the creases of their uniform are, and that really just adds to the integrity and the realism to the uniform. Obviously as well, when you get to areas that stick out like where her boobs are, you need to give that a bit of a touch on the top just to make it look like light reflection is bouncing off it. And again on the folds of the uniform around by her collarbone there, exactly the same thing. Now the dry brushing will make a huge difference to your model, a massive difference, and it's really important that you get this right. What I haven't showed you is once I've done this, I moved on to silver dry brush, and I just silver dry brushed both of her guns and around where her stingers are on her wrist.